Alright, so I'd like to do a short video on the modifications and upgrades I've done to the Biocube 29. I bought this tank used. It had been established for about, not quite a year, but 10 to 11 months. It was a fish only with live rock tank when I first got it. I got lucky and found somebody who was moving a great distance and they just wanted to get rid of it. So I got the whole tank, the whole setup, which was all stock. Came with 3 clowns and a damsel, live rock, all the sand, and some goodies like the refractometer and a couple test kits and such. I got it for $100. Okay. Now since then I've spent around roughly $5 grand probably in total. That's including my modifications and upgrades. The corals, of course. There were no corals when I first got it. My salt, my Red Sea Foundation kits, my test kits, my Hannah checkers, all that. So I'd say at least $5 grand since then. But so what I did originally was I upped the return pump. Well, excuse me, I take that back. Originally I took off the hood and added 1 AI prime, and I was very pleased with it. Did a great job for the softies, the LPS and the Montipora. I mean, you just couldn't ask for a better light in my opinion. Now I did start trying Acropora, the Bali Green Slimer. It's kind of an easier Acropora, and I got the Vivid Rainbow Delight right here, which has not done much yet. It's a really slow starting coral. Anyway, once I started trying those, the 1 AI prime just was not enough. It was getting, like half of the sticks, the SPS, but it wasn't getting like another half. It was just kind of, too much shadow, too much shade. So they, like the Bali Green Slimer, you could tell it was just not doing too well. So what I did was I bought a second used AI Prime HD for my LFS. Got a really good deal. I think I paid $125, which I was pretty pleased with it because this is right after the Prime 16s came out. I didn't really want a Prime 16 because I knew there was going to be bugs to work out, and on top of that, I figured the spectrum will be a little bit different than what the original AI Prime HD would be. So I was real happy to finally get, just a second AI Prime HD. So what I did after that was actually I got a couple Hydrocoralia, just cheap power heads to up the flow, because I had been battling a little bit of cyanobacteria, and they were perfect, really, honestly. I mean, they were just good flow. I put one right here on the left front corner facing this way to the next right corner of the tank. And the second one, what I did was I put it back here where my Nero 5 is at, so I could kind of almost get a gyre motion. The first one would send the return flow around to the front corner. It would kick back towards the back, towards the overflow, and then the second one would kick it back towards the return. So it was almost like a gyre motion. It was a lot of flow. It was nice. Now since then I've added the Nero 5, and I like the Nero 5. I got the Nero 5. I was debating on maybe like the MP10 by Ecotech, but I thought, you know what? I've got the AI Primes already. I've got the My AI app. Let's just go with the Nero 5. So I did, and I like it, man. I mean, I like the schedule. The fact that I'm able to, make a schedule for your flow. So around maybe like midnight to 7 a.m., I just dial it down to about, I think it's 11 or 12%. Just keeps the water flowing a little bit, but it gives everybody time to, get rest, go to sleep. They don't get, kicked around. Just keeps flow going to a minimum. Then around 7 to 8, I'll kick the flow up to about 15%. Then from around 8 to noon, I kick it up to 20 or 21%. Then from noon to 1 p.m., I kick it up to 24% on pulse. Now from noon to 1 p.m. is the only time I really have it on pulse. Other than that, I always keep it on just constant flow. So from 1 to 4, I keep it on about 23% constant flow. From 4 to 8 p.m., I keep keep it around, I think 20%. My lights go out at 8 o'clock. 8 p.m. is when the primes go out. That's when everything goes well, not completely dark. You know, I've got the moon schedule set on it, so sometimes it'll go dark if it's a new moon. If it's a full moon, you know, I think I got all my blues, my ultraviolet, my violets set on about 5%, so it makes for a nice effect. As a matter of fact, I'll show that to you here in a second. I've got the lights on manual right now to bump them up a little bit, just you know, for the video to show you the tank. But I really like the prime. So like after 8 p.m., I kick it back down to I think 15%, all the way up till midnight. And like I said, from midnight to 7, it goes back to 12%, 11%. Another thing I did was I added and this is the modifications I'm telling you about, in no particular order. This is not necessarily the order I got them in. But I also added a CG Syncra 1.5 return pump, which maxes out at about 350 gallons per hour. The last pump I had was around 260 gallons per hour. I've got about 25 gallons of water volume, so you figure 10 times turnover is 250 gallons. So that's 10 times turnover, right? So I'm doing about 15 times turnover with my this is the CG Syncra by itself, and then you add in the fact that you've got the Nero, and you've got quite a bit of flow. I find that my tank does best with as much flow as possible. I mean, I try to pump it up as much as I can without being overly hard or aggressive on the corals. You know what I'm saying? You don't want them looking like the flesh is about to rip off, but you want a lot of flow. And when I first put the CG Syncra in and turned it on high, I mean, it was so much flow that the in-tank media basket over here that I got from Octo Aquatics, you can't really see it, but I've got some GFO in there, some ChemiPure blue. I've got just some filter floss that I get off Amazon for like $10 a roll. But it was so much flow that it almost couldn't keep up. The in-tank media basket was gurgling, and I mean, it would go down, but you could tell it was just a little bit too much flow. But it seemed like after about a week, it really broke in, and it's just, ever since then, it's just been smooth sailing. Super, super happy with the CG Syncra 1.5. I'm glad I didn't get the 1.0. I was debating on getting that. I didn't, thank goodness. One of the other modifications I did, this is one of the first ones I did actually. I got an ATO by Reef Breeders. Down here it is kind of hard to see, I guess, because it's a little dark. Reef Breeders XO ATO. I can't speak highly enough about this. There it is. I mean, it was 90 bucks, man, and it took me literally 2 minutes to get it out the box, up and running and working. The only thing it didn't come with is the water and the reservoir. Everything else it comes with. Great, great buy. I'm super happy with my Reef Breeders XO ATO. Also, the Nano skimmer by eShops. I'll tell you what, man. They always say nano skimmers don't work. You don't need a nano skimmer. They don't do anything. I don't care what they say. That Nano skimmer by eShops is amazing. My nitrates always stayed around 40 parts per million. I couldn't do anything to bring them down. No matter how many water changes I did, you know, every 7 days, how light I was feeding every other day, just a little bit here and there, just enough to keep the fish, you know, from not starving to death. It just, nothing I could do to bring the nitrates down. Well, as soon as I put the eShops Nano skimmer in it, it broke in after about 2 days. I mean, it was working within a day. A little bit of micro bubbles the first day, but within 2 days, the micro bubbles had gone away. It broke in, and it was pulling gunk. I mean, it was, at first it was pulling so much that, I mean, it was literally like, it looked like oil in there sometimes, or some really dark coffee. I've been running it about 3 or 4 months now, and I run it pretty much 24/7. I do turn it off sometimes at night, or like if I do a water change and I start it back up, it'll kind of cause micro bubbles. So I find that if I wait an hour or so after a water change and then kick it back on, it sets off just right. But anyway, since I've been running it, my nitrates are down to like 1 part per million, 2 parts per million. I was struggling actually to have detectable nitrates Never had a problem with bottoming out, but it's like I said, it's kept me at about 1 part per million to maybe 2 parts per million as far as nitrates are concerned. And it's working so well that my water is so clean. I've gone from doing a water change every 7 days to every 14 days. I mean, I feel like I just really don't even need to do them every 7 days. I could probably go a month. However, I don't. I feel 2 weeks is enough, you know. But my water stays crystal clear, you know. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's so clean that the skimmer is not, I don't want to say it stopped working, but it does not wet skim anymore. It pretty much only dry skims. It just collects the waste on the inside of the chamber body. So it's done a great job, and I'm very pleased with it. And I highly recommend the eShop's Nano Skimmer to anybody who owns a Biocube or NanoCube. It's an amazing piece of equipment. The one thing I did find, there's a little sponge inside the pump. It's a little square blue sponge. Take it out, man. It gets clogged up. Also, something I did was I added an airline tube for, you know, a little fish airline tube. It's a 25-foot tube. I got it running down the wall and outside my window. It draws in air from the outside, and it helps with the pH, keeping the pH stable. What else did I do? Okay, so I got the ATO reservoir by Innovative Marine. That's what houses my Reef Breeder's ATO. It's got a little drawer, handy little drawer. You just pour the water right in, and it goes in here. I really like it. It's like 99 bucks. I think it's highly worth it. It's very nice construction. Very well made. Another one of my favorite modifications, not really a you know, a saltwater or an aquarium modification, so to speak, is my little power center down here. It's an ADJ power center off of Amazon, like 32 bucks. It's got 8 individual receptacles, and each receptacle has its own on-off position. So now all my cords to all my equipment run through the back of the stand, up under the bottom, and into the back of this right here. So let's say I go to feed the fish. I turn off number 1, that's my return pump. Number 1 and number 3, that's my return pump and my Nero. So when I do that, my water rises in the back, so I want to turn off number 7. Number 7 is my skimmer. It's off right now. Let's turn it on. Let's see. There it goes. It's on now. I turn off my skimmer because you don't want it overflowing. So I love the power center by ADJ Power Center. Amazon, 30 bucks, man. It's a great investment. I really like it. Other than that, man, I don't think I've done any other modifications for the most part. Got my lights. Got the return pump. We talked about the Nano Skimmer, obviously the primes, the power center, the ATO by Reef Breeders. Overly happy with my tank. You can see right here that there's a few micro bubbles starting to come out. That's because I just did a water change here a little while ago. It will always work its way out. I mean, it might make micro bubbles for 5 or 10 minutes after it's been turned off for a little while, but it always breaks right back in. So anyway, appreciate everybody following along. Hopefully I'll have another video here soon, guys. Appreciate it. This is my first one, so go easy on me. You know, I'll do a better one next time. This is kind of just on the fly, on a whim. No planning or nothing like that. Just went ahead and did it. After I seen a couple other ones. I seen a YouTube video by Aiden's Aquatics and Waterbox Reef, and I said, you know what? I gotta do that myself. So, alright guys, I'm signing out, and I'll see you next time. Appreciate it.